Hello, welcome back to Chris's Beer Reviews. How are you? Hope you're doing that really well. It's time for a beer review, and in this beer review it's also a side-by-side beer review, and the two bottles that we are looking at today are both from Greene King, whereas this one here will be labelled as Moorland, but it is a Greene King beer. And we're having a look at side-by-side against the Abbot Reserve, coming in at 6.5% ABV, versus Old Crafty Hen, that comes in at 6.5% ABV. So as I say, they're both Greene King beers. They both look very similar in colour, pretty much identical really. They're both in clear glass bottles, which I'm not a fan of, but there they are. And when you hold them up to the light, or when you just hold them side by side, they look identical. They're both 6.5%. They're both Greene King beers. Are they the same beer? I don't know if anyone else has done a side-by-side on these two. I haven't looked. But are they the same beer, but are they just in different dresses, so to speak? So that's what we're going to find out. And I'm going to read the back of both of them, because I think it only makes sense to read the back of both of them. Especially when I think they could well be the same beer. But let's have a look at what it says on Old Crafty Hen. We take our legendary 5X Strong Ale, aged gently in oak vats for many months, and blend it with Old Speckled Hen to create this masterpiece, a perfectly crafted premium ale bursting with malt, toffee and dried fruit notes. A masterpiece. You can't put a masterpiece in a clear bottle, in my opinion, but there you go. Anyway, Abbot Reserve says, from the master brewers of Abbot Ale comes this superior premium beer. Abbot Reserve, brewed in limited quantities. This is exceptional. This is an exceptional treat for the special occasion. Abbot Reserve is a distinctive, full-bodied, smooth and mature beer bursting with rich fruitcake and toffee flavour. So they both mention toffee. We know that. This one says fruitcake. The Crafty Hen says dried fruit notes. So Christmas cake or fruit cake has dried fruit in it, doesn't it? So they kind of sound similar, but they're just using a different way of saying it. But is it the same beer? I don't know. I kind of got this funny feeling they're going to be very close, if not the same. So let's crack on. Let's get these open. Let's get them in a glass and have a good look at them. One of them has just given off a little bit of a skunkiness. Might have been that one. Oh, it smells like cheese. It smells like cheesy feet, does the Old Speckled Hen. So does that. They smell identical out the bottle. Absolutely smell identical out the bottle. Let's see what they're like in the glass with a bit of air getting to it. Let's see what happens. Okay, side by side. Let's have a little look at them side by side. Crafty, what's it called again? Old Crafty Hen on the left, Abbot Reserve on the right. Be the other way around for you. They're identical. There is nothing in that. The carbonation looks the same, everything looks the same. Clearly I've used the same glass to keep it fair, but they look absolutely identical. The Abbot Reserve has got just a slightly bigger head, but that'll probably dissipate and join that one. But they are identical, absolutely identical in looks in the glass. Let's have a little cheeky sniff of the Old Crafty Hen. And it does have a bit of a cheesy vibe to it, a bit of feetiness. Feetiness. Malty. It's malt is what that is. It's very malty. And not much else. It's all malty and a bit sweet. Let's have a go on the Abbot Reserve. Not as strong on aroma, but the aroma's the same, but just not as strong. Either that or I've just got used to it. Yeah, again, sweet maltiness. Let's go tasting Crafty Hen. Sorry, cheers. you can pick up on that 6.5% ABV in terms of, not that it burns, it's a bit ethanol-y. It's, yeah, it doesn't feel good. Very dry. That is super dry. My mouth is now bone dry. That has really sucked every bit of moisture out of my gob. It is bitter. It tastes cheap. Old Crafty Hen definitely tastes cheap. It's almost reminiscent of a high ABV lager in terms of that cheapness vibe, not as in terms of flavours, but in terms of that cheapness. It just feels cheap. Like when I say high ABV lager, you know what I'm talking about. We're talking about the park bench beers. It's got that type of cheap feel to it. Although some of the Polish high-end, high ABV lagers are okay, but it just feels cheap. You can pick up on the alcohol. There's a little element of toffee to it, but it's super dry, and that is so dry and it's ridiculous. Abbot Reserve. Let's have a taste on that. Cheers again. That's almost identical as well. That is almost identical. It's actually a little bit sweeter. There actually is a little bit more of a fruity vibe in there. There is a difference. But again, that is super drying as well. That is really, really drying my palate out. There actually is a difference. I thought it was going to be the same beer, but I don't think it is. The Abbot Reserve does taste better than Crafty Hen, but there's not a lot in it. There really isn't much in that. The aroma is identical. Absolutely. Again, you kind of pick up on that alcohol taste in there, ethanol, whatever it's called. You certainly pick up on that in that one as well. It is a little bit sweeter, which kind of knocks off a little bit of that really dry and bitterness. But they are very, very, very similar indeed. Now, what I was originally going to do was going to put Abbot Reserve up against Broadside, which is in a dark brown bottle. That was what I was originally going to do, is put Abbot Reserve up against this. And then I saw Crafty Hen on the supermarket shelf as well at 6.5%, because that's 6.3. I'm sure that used to be 6.5, could be wrong. And they're both Greene King, so it made sense to put those two together. I just know damn well that Adnams Broadside would just knock those two into the park without a doubt. So I think this is a better comparison. But both of these are not fantastic beers. If I had to pick one out of the two, I would go with the Abbot Reserve. It's just got a slightly sweeter element to it, a little bit of kind of sultanery raisanness to it, but other than that, it is very bitter, it is very drying. You certainly pick up on that 6.5% ABV. You know, they're cheap, they're cheapish, but there's better, considering that is going to be the same price as those two. Just know that is a much, much better beer. So yeah, there you go. Like I said, I don't know if anyone else has put these two side by side. I'm sure someone must have done. And if you've had both of these, if you enjoy both of these, or you've had both and you prefer one over the other, let me know what it is. But for me, the Abbot Reserve is the better out of the two. But would I recommend them? Would I drink them again? No, I wouldn't. There you go. I'm all done. Thank you very much for watching. See you all soon.